Okay, good evening everyone and welcome to the University of Nottingham PGCE webinar. My name is Helen Sferopoulos. I'm the Admissions Manager at Stafford Global, and joining me this evening all the way from the University of Nottingham is Dr. Jean. Good evening to you, Dr. Jean.
Hello Helen, and hello everybody. Welcome everybody. I'm Jean Dyson, and I work at the University of Nottingham in the School of Education and primarily on the PGCE program, so it's great to be here.
Good, it's lovely to see you again. Okay, so let me just briefly tell you how we're going to run the session this evening. I'm just going to introduce you very briefly to Stafford Global. I'm then going to hand you over to Dr. Jean, who is going to go through the program. And at the end of the presentation, you will have the opportunity to type out any questions that you may want to ask Dr. Jean or myself. Now, I know that you may have very similar, if not identical questions. So I am going to be grouping these together. So please do listen out for your question and your answer. Okay, so let's get started. All right, so who is Stafford Global? Now, Stafford Global was established in 1993, and we are a resource center for distance learning education in the Middle East. Now, we do represent 7 UK universities, one of which is the University of Nottingham, and we have had a very, very long-standing relationship with the university, and specifically for this program. Now, we do offer a variety of programs, ranging from certificates to diplomas, bachelors, MBAs, right through until doctorates. So we really do have all the programs for your personal as well as professional needs. So the mere fact that you're here with us this evening means that you have been in communication with one of our experienced academic consultants, and our role is really to assist you through the entire application process and make sure that you do get that very, very important unconditional offer. Okay, good. So as I mentioned, just a brief introduction. I'm now going to hand you over to Dr. Jean, and I will be joining you then again towards the end of the presentation. Over to you, Dr. Jean.
Thank you, Helen. Okay, so let me introduce the University of Nottingham. It's obviously a UK university, and it is part of the Russell Group, excuse me. And the Russell Group is a select group of UK universities that have been identified for their excellence in research and teaching. The university was described by the Times newspaper as the nearest Britain has to a truly global university, and we're very proud of that fact. We're very happy to welcome students to our campus every year from over 150 countries, and then also, of course, all our distance students who come from around the globe. The university's got campuses in China, or a campus in China, in Ningbo, and a campus in Malaysia, just outside Kuala Lumpur. And in fact, the PGCE program is in itself a very international program. We've got cohorts in Europe, in Africa, in Asia, and of course in the Middle East. So we're very, very international, and we really pride ourselves. That's part of our identity. And we have been recognized for our research excellence and our teaching excellence. In fact, in the last 2 weeks or so, the University of Nottingham has been in the news twice around research initiatives. So it's a very research-driven university. In terms of the PGCEI, the PGCEI stands for Postgraduate Certificate in Education, and the I is the international. It's a master's level course of blended learning, face-to-face, a bit of synchronous online learning, and then also online learning that you do yourself. And it is a program of professional enrichment for educators, educators who are working in countries outside or in other countries aside from the UK. And as I said, it includes face-to-face workshops and online tutorials that are delivered live, as well as obviously ongoing communications with your tutor and ongoing tutor support throughout the course. And it's very much a course that is about theory, but also about using that theory in your own individual practice. So it's very tailored, or you tailor it around your own professional practice and what you are doing in the classroom. And we aim for you to be enriched by the theory and then use that theory to inform your own teaching practice, and also to think about teaching and education around the world and compare the different educational systems and think about the different educational systems around the world. So the PGCEI consists of 3 modules, and you have to complete each module, and they are completed sequentially. So you do module 1, module 2, module 3, and the course runs over approximately a 12-month period. The modules are structured in a very coherent and considered way. It starts the first module by looking at education quite broadly and looking at aims and values that inform educational systems, inform knowledge, inform curriculum, and then you look at your own educational values and how that informs your own teaching practice. The second module narrows the focus a little to look at learning. So we think about learning theories, how people learn, the different ways in which people learn, different understandings of how people learn, and then we look at how that is translated into teaching in international classrooms and in your own classroom. And then the third module is even more narrowed, where you actually look at your own classroom practice and you do a classroom-based research study on learning and understanding in your own classroom. So each module is assessed by coursework, there are no exams, and you have to complete an assignment for each of those 3 modules. And as I said, complete each module before moving on to the next one. For each module, you will get 20 credits. And if you get above 53 for each of those modules, you can use those 20 credits if you want to continue your studies towards a master's degree at the University of Nottingham. So if you complete those 3 modules with marks over 53, you will have 60 credits that you could use towards a Master's of Education, a Master's of Education Special Needs, or a Master's in Educational Leadership and Management from the University of Nottingham. So that will be recognised as going towards a future master's degree if you would like. All the materials and the learning resources for the PGCEI are available online. And aside from the learning resources, actually there are also other university resources that you will have access to as a student at the University of Nottingham. And that is resources around support and well-being, counselling services, library services, academic support, and all of those are available online, and you will have access to those as a student at the University of Nottingham. And then, of course, you will also have individual tutor support. So you will be assigned a tutor, and that tutor will act as your academic support, but also your pastoral support throughout the course of the PGCEI. And there are online forum discussions that you also will have access to, so that we try to create a sense of community, even though you will be working largely on your own, working your way through these online materials and at your own pace. That's the sort of beauty of this program, is that you have control of how you study. But we do like to encourage a form of community, so you will participate on online forums, and you will have this continual contact with your tutor through email and through a series of kind of online interactions as well. There is extra academic support available as well. So in the School of Education, there is the Centre for English Language Education, we call it CELI, and that offers academic support to all students, but particularly to students within the within the School of Education. And they have a whole range of online materials and short courses that you can access at any point and in your own time, whenever you need. And you can also book one-on-one tutorials with members of the CELI staff, and they will sit with you and work with you with a piece of your writing, perhaps, if you would like, and help you to develop your writing skills. And then the other thing is that CELI has developed a course that they deliver online it usually lasts about 4 weeks, and they have developed this specifically for PGCEI students. So your tutor will tell you when the next 4-week course is starting, and if you would like to, you can certainly take advantage of that or any of these other resources should you feel you want to. So you will need, if you are interested in joining the PGCEI program, the entry requirements academically would be a bachelor's degree with at least a second-class honours or equivalent, or a professional qualification which is equivalent to a bachelor's second-class honours degree. If English is not your first language, you will also need to show English competence through an IELTS score of a minimum of 6.5. And that is the basic minimum, but you must not have under 6 in any of the 4 areas. So speaking, listening, writing, and reading must not be below a score of 6. In terms of other requirements, you will need to have access or be in an educational context of some kind. And this doesn't have to be a conventional school. You could be in a kind of online learning environment, or you don't have to be in a conventional classroom. You could be a PE teacher. But you will be expected to work with the theory that we are offering you and apply that to a teaching context. So even if you're a teaching assistant or some class aide, if you have access to a teaching or an educational context, that would be fine. And as I said, for the 3rd module, you will have to do a piece of classroom-based research. So you will need access to students and an educational context of some sort. Of course, because it's an online course, you will need access to a computer, and you will need reliable internet connectivity. You submit all your assignments online, so it's very important, obviously, that your internet is reliable, and you will always have to be accessing the online resources online, obviously. So you will need reliable internet. If you feel that perhaps there are some aspects of these requirements that don't match your particular profile, please don't worry. If you are keen, do submit your application anyway, and all, even non-standard applications are welcome, and we will review these on a case-by-case basis. So if you are slightly not quite fitting this profile, do go ahead if you are interested and submit an application anyway. So when you apply, you will need to submit your degree certificate and a transcript of your academic marks. You will need 1 reference, and this can be an academic reference or a work-related reference. You will need to write a personal statement motivating and explaining why you would like to do this course, and that should be about 500 to 700 words. You should include a detailed CV and the application form from the University of Nottingham. Please also include a copy of your passport and proof of your competency in English. So those are all the documents that you will need to submit when you apply. Applications for the next cohort, the next UAE cohort, which begins in October, will close on the 3rd of September. So you've got still about a month to get all that documentation together if you are interested. There is a face-to-face induction in the UAE, and there will be 2 online workshops during the course. So the next UAE program will start on the 1st of October 2025. And that is the date where you should have access to the university systems. Your email account, your Moodle account, your library, all those resources should be available by the 1st of October. There are limited places per cohort. We can't obviously offer to everybody, so please make sure that you do get your applications in. In terms of the delivery of the material, there will be a 2-day induction program in the UAE in October, on the 11th and 12th of October, and that will be face-to-face. And there you will have an opportunity to meet the other students in the cohort, to meet the tutors on the program, and it's a really lovely, exciting 2 days where we work together. We introduce you to the course, to some of the skills that you will need. We introduce you to the content that you will start to engage with in Module 1. And it's really a chance to establish connections that you can then work with and develop as you go through this period of the PGCEI. So it's a great It's a really, really lovely 2 days. And then after that, we will have 2 one-day online workshops. This is a new format that we're trying out based on student feedback. So we will have a one-day online workshop in January to introduce the content for Module 2, and then another one-day online workshop in April to introduce the content for Module 3. And attendance on all of those workshops, the induction and the 2 online workshops, is compulsory. And then aside from that, face-to-face and synchronous online teaching and learning, there will also obviously be continual contact with your tutors over the course of the year. In terms of payment, Stafford Global will help you with that, so please contact them regarding the payment, but also just to point out that there is a flexible payment plan, so you must speak to Stafford Global about that. There is an admission fee, an application fee, I beg your pardon, of 700 dirham that you need to pay when you submit your application. And I think that's pretty much it. So if Helen, you would like to...
Right, good. Yes, I am here. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jean. That was very informative, and I have opened up the system now, so any questions can be actually put through, and I have already received quite a few questions. So let's just get through them as quickly as possible. Okay, so this is quite an interesting question from Miley, and Miley is located in the UAE. What is the difference between a PGCE and the PGCEI?
Okay, they both cover educational theory, but the PGCEI has got a much more international focus. So if you do a PGCE here, say in England, you would be looking at English systems primarily, and it would be training you to teach in England. Of course, you can also teach in other places, but the focus would be on English curricula and English systems, whereas the PGCEI is really aiming to cater for students from anywhere around the world, essentially. So we do have students from the UK, but it really is a much broader, with a broader, much more broad international focus.
Good. Okay, good. And Mariah's question is, which is actually a popular question that other students have also asked, how many hours per week should I really be dedicating to my studies?
Yes, that is a question that does get asked very often. We try to work on a basis of, so the materials are designed and the assessments are designed to work on the basis of 20 hours per week. So it's about 200 hours per module, and each module is essentially 10 weeks. But there will be times when perhaps, you can't do that 20 hours because you've got marking deadlines or whatever. So, and maybe you might read quicker than other people or slower than other people. So it's a it's not going to be a fixed 20 hours per week, but that's the kind of broad benchmark that we use.
Absolutely. Okay, and then we have a similar question from Muhammad and from Miriam, and Miriam's all the way from Oman. What would be the advantage of doing your PGCI in the Middle East? Does it have any advantages as compared to perhaps other programs?
Other PGCI programs, perhaps, are you referring to? I wonder. I think
so, yes.
Okay, well then I think really I would say have a look at past students' testimonials and think about the University of Nottingham and the reputation of the university. I think our program also offers an excellent combination of theory and practice. So although we don't teach the practice, we really encourage you to apply that theory to the practice. And we really try to think about education within your own particular context. So it's very much tailored to what you are doing. And I think that is a great advantage that we give. I'm not very familiar with other PGCI programs, but I am a big advocate of ours, obviously.
Yes, Gina, I definitely do agree with you. And, you know, we've been running this PGCE program with the University of Nottingham for many, many years in the Middle East. So we've had over 2,000 graduates. And a lot of the schools in the Middle East do accept this program. As Dr. Jean has mentioned, fantastic ranking of the university, as well as the education department, very, very sought after, not only in the Middle East, but also internationally, if you are looking to go and teach in the future internationally. Okay. So Mariah's second question is about the online sessions. Will those online sessions be recorded at all?
Yes, usually online sessions are recorded, and then they all take place on the platform of Teams, and then you will have access to those recordings.
Right, perfect. Okay, good. Right, so let's just look at the other questions that have come from Fatima, and Fatima is located in Saudi Arabia. Can you provide some insight on what is actually covered on the online workshops? Is it similar to the face-to-face workshop?
Okay, well, that's a great question. Thank you, Fatima. We haven't, as I said, this is a new format that we're trying, largely based on student feedback. And so we haven't run this format before. But the plan, or what we envisage, is that in the first 2 days of the induction workshop, you will have a sort of overview of skills, what the expectations are in terms of academic work and writing, and some sort of guidance on what you need to do and prepare for that. And then you will have some input into Module 1 and the content of Module 1. Then for the first online workshop, we will perhaps revise some of those academic skills, depending on maybe what the needs of the cohorts are. And then we will also introduce you to the content for Module 2. Module 3 is very much about the research-based classroom study that you will be doing. So we will then, for that third workshop, the second online workshop, we will introduce you to the content for Module 3, the theory that you will be engaging with, and also give you some skills to use and to help you in planning and conducting your ethical classroom research study. So they will be very much more tailored towards the modules.
Right, excellent, good. And Mariah, I'm just going to answer your question about attendance on these workshops. As Dr. Jean has mentioned, all workshops, whether it is online or face-to-face, are mandatory. Unfortunately, if you do not attend any of these sessions, you will be asked to leave the program. Okay, so please make sure that you can actually attend these workshops, whether it is online or face-to-face. Okay.
Thank you, Helen. Can I add to that? Sorry, just to say that, of course, if you are ill, seriously ill, you can be exempted. So there is a process if something happens. And also to say that the online workshops will be interactive. So even though they are online, you will not just be sitting in front of your computer. We will be doing group work and question and answers and things like that. So it won't just be sitting and looking at the screen.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, Jean. You're quite correct about that. Okay, good. And a question that has come through from Sajna, and Sajna is located in India. Is this PGCE suitable for teaching any age bracket? For example, does it focus in primary or secondary?
Okay, great question. Thank you, Sajna. No, we really cater for anyone, and everybody is welcome on the PGCE. And we do have students from all sorts of contexts, from early years right through to tertiary education, actually, and from all sorts of different learning and teaching contexts, from schools to language centers to, I mean, all sorts. So everybody is welcome, and we try to make the content as inclusive as possible. So to give examples from various teaching contexts, or give you choices to choose articles that are particularly relevant to your teaching context, perhaps. But really, and it's also about applying the theory to your own practice. So yeah, it's relevant and everybody is welcome.
Excellent, good. And is the course internationally recognized? Yes, it's a very popular question that we get. So yes, Dr. Jean will confirm that, correct?
Yes, it is, yes.
Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to answer the question from Rolene, who's located in Qatar. She has professional qualifications in education, but not an actual bachelor degree, and will be accepted onto the program. Okay, so Rolene, what we need to do is actually have a look at your CV as well as your professional qualifications that you have completed. The university does look at each application independently. They need to see how many years teaching experience you have, and that gets obviously looked at by the program leaders and the admissions directors as well. So the sooner you send those documents into your personal academic consultant, the sooner we can actually send it through to the university and let them have a look at your application. Okay. Good. All right. So let's go on to the next question. Oh, okay. So this question does come up quite often, Dr. Jean. I know that there are some students in some areas that prefer to do a very, very short course, which is required perhaps by their school. So the question really arises, can we do this program shorter than the 12 months?
No, is the answer, I'm afraid. It is carefully designed to carry over that certain period. I mean, in theory, it does actually, although it starts in October, generally it finishes by the end of August. So it's 11 months rather than 12, I would say. Although you might not get your actual final results of the paper within that 11 months. It's usually around there. But the content has been designed quite carefully. So to do it quicker would kind of undermine the integrity of the content. And also, you have to do it sequentially. So you can't squash it all. You can't, you need to move from one thing to the next thing quite deliberately, if you know what I mean.
Right, good. I hope that answers that question. And Aisha is from the UAE, and her question is really about QTS. Yes, we have obviously advised Aisha that this program does not come with QTS. So her question is, how do I gain the QTS after the qualification?
Okay, the QTS is really, qualified teacher status is really about for teaching in the UK. You can do it through UK. I mean, you could come back to the UK and go through a process of mentorship and gain your QTS that way with the PGCE. Or you can do it through, I think there is a kind of portfolio submission way that you can do your QTS. I have to say that these regulations change fairly frequently. So if you are interested in the QTS aspect, my suggestion would be to have a look at the gov.uk website and just see what you need to do, because they do change quite often.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's definitely quite correct, Dr. Jean. Every country has different rules and regulations when it comes to QTS. And as Dr. Jean says, if you do go onto the UK government site, there are various ways that you can meet that QTS requirement. One of them is, as you mentioned, assessment-based QTS. Okay, so please do have a look through it. If you're struggling to find the link, do get in touch with your academic consultant, and we'll be very glad to assist you with that as well. Okay, good. All right, so a question about the master's program. So if I do complete this PGCE, you mentioned that I can progress to the master's. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. You will gain 60 credits from the PGCE program, and those 60 credits are at master's level, so they will be recognized for a master's program in education. Some of the masters might be more specialist, like special educational needs, and that they might not recognize the full 60. So maybe they would only recognize 40 because they want you to do more credits. that are specialized to their particular program. But as far as I'm aware, the MA in education, the general one, will recognize the full 60. And most, in fact, I think all the master's programs in education have a total content of 180 credits. So if you've already got 60 in the bank, that is quite a good start.
Absolutely good. And a question that comes from Miriam, who's in Oman. Will I be invited to attend the graduation at the university, or do I get my degree certificate posted to me?
You have a choice, Miriam. You can do either. Once you have completed your degree and your marks have gone through and been ratified by the exam board, you will be sent a letter from the graduation office, and you can choose to either attend in person or to have your degree conferred in absentia. And if you do it in absentia, your degree will be posted to you, but you can certainly choose to come to the UK and walk on the stage.
Absolutely good. It's a very auspicious occasion, and you really worked very hard for it. So I really do recommend going through to the UK and graduating there. Good. And a question again that's come from Miley. If I decide halfway through my studies that I want to do this full time on campus, will I be permitted to do so?
Oh, Miley, that is a complicated question, and I don't think so, because there is no face-to-face in-person PGCEI program. It is a distance learning program. So you might, depending on when you decide to stop it, I mean, you might say have 20 credits if you've completed module 1, or 40 if you've completed module 1 and 2, and you may be able to use those to join a PGCE program at the University of Nottingham, but you would have to check that before making any decisions.
Absolutely good. And I think this question has come up before, if I'm not mistaken, but it's about being assessed by tutors in the classroom setting, which this program doesn't have. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Jean, because it's not QTS based. So just correct me on that, Dr. Jean.
No, you're absolutely right, Helen. There's no classroom practice assessment. So all the assessment is by assignment. There's no observation.
Good. And with regards to, this is from Fatima, with regards to the assignments, how long are they? I think she's talking about word count. So how long are they, and are they really difficult?
Generally, they are 4,000 words. There is one that is slightly different, but 4,000 words is the kind of standard. Difficult, well, I think the beauty about the program is that you are offered the opportunity to really engage with thoughtful, we think, material that is really pertinent to your practice, really relevant to how you teach. And then you have to think about that material in relation to your practice. So I think that if you are enthusiastic and interested and engaged, then it makes it less difficult. Of course, writing at a master's level in an academic format is always going to be challenging, particularly if you're coming back to academia after a break, as many of our students are. It might be difficult to get back into it, but generally we are here to support you. And remember that I spoke about all of those resources that are there to help you if you are finding it difficult. There are so many resources that can help you to develop your academic skills if you feel like you are finding it a bit challenging.
Absolutely good. And a question that has come up twice actually is about taking breaks during the program. If there's unforeseen circumstances, are students permitted to take a break during their studies?
Yes, and that we really, the whole point of this program is we want you to succeed. So if you are finding it difficult and it's more than you thought, or something has happened in your life, there is this option, what we call it voluntary interruption of studies. And you can take that for 6 months, even a year, just to allow you to get your life back on track or whatever. And basically then your studies are put on hold at the point in which you start the viz, and then you pick up again when you come back where you left off. It might mean that the rest of your cohort has moved on, but that doesn't matter. You can still carry on with the program as it is, and as long as there's one proviso, is that in total you have to complete this 12-month program within 3 years. So you've got a 3-year buffer to complete the program, essentially.
Which is excellent. It's a very good timeline, actually. That's fantastic. Good. Okay, and we have a question from Alaya, who, and I hope I pronounced that correctly, who's from Jordan. And her question is, if I do fail the assignment, what happens? Do I get removed from the program, or can I redo the module?
You can redo this assignment, so you can if you fail your assignment, you will be given, you will sort of have a different timeline. So you'll be given up to 6 weeks to rework your assignment, and you will get tutor support to help you to do that. And then you can resubmit your assignment. And once you've resubmitted and passed, then you move on to the next module. And you can resubmit an assignment twice, I think, as long as one of those resubmissions is a mark over 40.
Correct. Okay, good. And Belinda is from the UAE, and her question is also around assignments, is what is the pass mark for the assignments?
Okay, we have a spot marking system is what we call it. So you get marks that are either a 3 grade or an 8 grade. So 53, 58, 63, 68, and 53 is the pass. Good. And 48 is fail.
Yes, and which I'm sure none of you are going to fail. Okay, you'll do very, very well on the program. Okay, good. And just a follow-up question from Mariah is, how many assignments do we actually submit? Is it 2 assignments per module or 1 assignment per module?
Okay, so each module you have a formative part of a formative assignment, which is like a piece of writing and often an assignment proposal. You don't get a grade for that, but you do have to submit it, and we will give you feedback on that. And each module has 1 graded assignment.
Good, and that's very, very manageable. Okay, so that's excellent. Okay, so and Muhammad, you know, you're talking about fees. Your academic consultant will actually be in communication with you and discuss the fees as well as the flexible payment plan. So they will actually be in touch with you on that. Okay. And again, Mariah's question is about exams. So there are no examinations in this particular program. And that's why it's actually a very, very popular program and very sought after by a lot of our teachers. I mean, who really likes exams, really, in all honesty? Okay, so no, Mariah, it's only assignments in this particular program. Okay, good. So I think I have actually managed to condense all these questions, because there were, as I mentioned, quite a lot of questions that were very, very similar. So I hope that we managed to answer all these questions. This session has been recorded as well. So you will actually receive the recording from me tomorrow. So please do look out for that in your emails. Okay. So as Dr. Jean has mentioned, we are still currently accepting applications for the October intake, and the application deadline is the 3rd of September. Limited places available for the program, so please make sure that you send your application to your academic consultant as soon as possible, and I hope to see you all on the program. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Jean, and I shall see you in the UAE in October at our face-to-face workshop. Okay, and I hope to see you all here as well. Thank you very much for joining me this evening, and a good evening to all.
Thank you very much. Bye.